Hello, hello, my beautiful YouTube family. Welcome back to the E portion of Tell Joanne. I am your girl, Joanne. Guys, today is an exciting day because it is Members Request Day. So our next request is by Vidal. Hello. And she has requested for us to listen to Baz Luhrmann's interviews of Elvis Presley's childhood friend, Sam Bell. If you are part of the family, aka you're ready to subscribe, you know what we're about to do. But if you're new to this channel, this is when I say, put me on pause, get your beverage choice, hit that subscribe button, and then we will do a chair on the counter. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, guys. Let's get to this. I'm excited to hear about the interview. I always enjoy playing Elvis's music. I always love it. I always have fun. I always dance, but I always love hearing interviews as well, so I can get to know the man behind the music. So thank you for this recommendation. Let's go.
Our property, my grandparents raised me, and they own a lot of property. And when they moved into the neighborhood, their backyard adjoined our property.
Right.
So all we had to do
Presleys.
The Presley. On here where this big tree is, EP live right there, stop right there.
Okay. So your properties join each other.
Right.
The fence, bit of a hole in it.
Yeah.
And the Presleys, was it just Elvis or a bunch of them?
It was just he and his mother when they moved in.
Right.
Because his father was there too, but he wasn't there that much. They were doing the segregated time, so we were like, well, he lived with 4 houses there. There was white families, and he was one of the white families.
How many houses were white families?
4.
So just so I really got it, if I was building a set, right? This would be the front this is the front of his house.
Mm-hmm.
And that house drives back that way, and the back of the house joins the back of your land, which was a long piece of land because you've got melons, and you've got like peanuts and like all sorts of things growing.
Right.
Correct?
Right. A big pasture down.
Got it. All right. So the Tupelo each one of that. Now you have one white house here with white folk in it. You have 3 others. Is that right? Where are those 3 other houses on that road?
You had another white right here. Yeah, another white house right there, and another one right there. It was 4 altogether, white houses.
Right. So what about the other side of the street? What are we looking at over here?
These are all houses over here.
And would they be like black houses?
Yeah, they're all black.
If you think about it, you got Elvis here with 3 white houses, but these are school teachers. These are black family that are school teachers here. And another school teacher's here, right? So everyone else African American, right? The whole area.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I tell you, this old area was the hill.
Yeah.
We was the hill. Cross the track over there, the shake racks. Just once you cross the track, then you call it shake rack.
So your houses are actually joining each other, right?
Back to back. But when you come out the back door, we all out there in the passage together.
So basically, you got a little world there.
Yeah, we were right together. It was a large place where we had to play with.
So his mama might have been on the back porch watching you kids.
Yeah, from that way.
And you had a water.
That was their backyard.
Right.
Where the fence, where the gate,
right.
Bridge is.
And you had watermelons and any like chickens and things like that.
We had peanuts and pears and figs.
It's really beautiful, actually. A lot of really nice, like fresh peaches.
Yeah, man, we had everything, peaches and.
So actually, the truth is, this Green Street here is a new Green Street. The old Green Street is really here. Oh, I get it. So what happens is they go and put a freeway right through Old Green Street.
Old Green Street.
So we've always got to be thinking, if you see aerial maps, that this top of Green Street, this is fake Green Street.
Yeah,
that's a fake Green Street.
Yeah, that's new. This is the old Green Street.
Got it.
You come around this way and you go on up that way.
Got it.
You go on up Chicago.
So this sign that says Green and Spring, actually this is green and it goes over the gully over there. Got it. And he gives us right there. And the back of yours runs down there to the big white house. And your folks, your grandfolks you've got a substantial property.
What our property was had a big pasture down there, called it pasture. We had a swimming pool, swimming hole. It was like a ditch.
A swimming hole, yeah.
And then we had a little fishing place where we fished.
So you fished
then we had
the gang?
Yeah, and we played our little ball down in there too. We went down to the baseball field.
So here is the Spring Hill Baptist. This is North Green.
Right.
And you know it goes up.
Right.
North Green, and it splits.
Right.
And you know Carver, there's like Carver Elementary.
That's where we went to school right there.
You went to Carver? Mm-hmm. Right. But Elvis, he goes to school down here. Would Elvis go?
All right, I'm pausing. I feel like listening to them and talking about like the landscape and how things were used to be. It's so interesting because I feel like this is so important for grandparents and for people to tell their grandkids and just their stories of how things were, because I feel like we live in a society now that we see something and we take it for what it is, right? We don't go back and look at the past and see how things have changed, right? People come and they're like, oh, they were raised in a hood, they were raised in a ghetto, and they didn't have anything. And here I'm hearing about Green Street. I'm hearing they were growing mangoes, they were growing fruits. Like, that's absolutely beautiful, right? So I like to hear that about the past and kind of really get a visual of how things were back in the days. Yes, there was segregation and they lived there because it was a poor area, but that doesn't mean that they had to be living a certain way. You know what I mean? So that's kind of cool to hear. All right, let me continue.
Every morning from his house to that school on foot.
It's not that far. It just seemed like that.
Walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you go across land.
Yeah, right. You look like it's a long way, but it's not that far.
Elvis, honey, you like the Christmas present?
Well, I wanted a bicycle, Mama.
Elvis, you know we can't afford no $55 for no bicycle.
Do they have their thing going on musically?
Yeah, they sent a little group and they
group, yeah.
couldn't sing. We thought we could, but they couldn't sing. They huddled in a little group and sing around, and he would always get the broom. When she bought him a guitar, he can bring it down there.
Why?
So I don't know.
Too precious.
Yeah. She let him come out and play, but not with
Guitar.
not with a gun,
Expensive.
not with a rifle, not with a guitar. But he'd use his broom. See, we had a tree house there. His daddy built a tree house. It was just a flat.
His daddy did?
Yeah. We'd climb up there, and that's where he kept his broom at all times. So when we get ready to start singing, he'd go there and go and get his broom.
But listen, what would be the favorite songs of the gang?
We was like church songs. We didn't
Gospel.
We didn't know anything. We just sang gospel from out of what we heard in church.
Yeah, like
We didn't have any artists.
spirituals.
Yeah. He used to like I Fly Away.
How's that one go?
I fly away, oh glory.
Because you know what? Interesting. Everything I read about EP in any part of his life, he's always on about a bit like being a bird. Like learning to sort of fly and
Yeah.
and he loved that song.
He
Fly
liked
Away.
that I Fly Away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I fly away.
Did he go down to that gospel church? Or could he go into your church?
Yeah, he could go. We'd go to church. It just matter where you want to go to church. The church was segregated because the people segregated. It wasn't say a white church or black church.
Right.
If wherever you close to, if you wanted to go to that church, you could go.
You could do that.
Yeah, and he enjoyed the one where I was telling you about the sanctified church where they.
I said that's good because so he said the church wasn't segregated, right? They didn't say it's people that chose to go to a certain church and not go to a certain church. So I'm glad to hear that. And people have preference to do what they want to do, but I'm glad to hear that where he lived, that the church were not like outwardly saying that it's segregated. It's just people's personal preference, and of course, people are gonna go where their own is, right? Where they feel more comfortable. All right, let's go.
There are a lot of tambourines and saxophone and drummers going on.
Oh, that band.
Yeah, that's where he liked that.
So does that sound a bit more swing? I'm just trying to.
Yeah, it's swinging because
I know. I've seen many interviews where people go, "Oh, so your first love was gospel," and he actually said, "No, actually, he used to say colored spirituals was my first love."
Yeah, and that's moving around a lot.
And the movement, right?
Yeah, because he would go up there.
Yeah.
We would thought.
Comment below if you guys ever heard this. I've never heard this, colored spiritual. I've never heard that phrase before. So let me know if you guys heard this phrase before.
We was too cool for that until he started doing it. We'd go down, we'd just watch.
Right.
But he would go up on the stage, he'd go up in the pulpit. If the band is the choir and the band up there singing and jumping around, he'd do it too. And he loved that. We're just watching.
your soul, when it's in your blood, when it's in your cells, it certainly is, and that's that.
They find him like cute or funny, or the adults I'm talking about.
You know, then if you showed any inclination about getting religion, they thought that boy got to religion. That's what they thought. Because anybody in their right mind wouldn't get up there and play like that.
Right.
He wasn't playing. Yeah, so they was happy.
So in a way, maybe there's a feeling that the spirit is within him.
Yeah, I mean, we just didn't understand it. We just know he was EP. One of the guys said, hey man, I said, go get that food. So the guy sent the usher up there, and she told him, come on, it's time to go, we need to go.
This image, man, of him being like up there amongst the band with the saxophone.
He wasn't shy, he wasn't shy.
He wasn't shy. And this movement thing, like, are you saying he's just like moving his hands around, or is he?
Yeah, he's jumping.
Copying them, or has he got something else going on? Like,
He do what they do. No, he do sing whatever they do. He liked the guitar. He fantasized his guitar thing. He wouldn't have one, but he fantasized. And he'd be jumping, and he'd be singing. He sound just as well.
He was a good little singer.
He was a good little guy, yeah.
Well, a lot of people go,
All right, so I'm pausing here, and I'm thinking about some of the comments that I hear into certain things. And it's like, you know, so when a person may say that, you know, Elvis stole black music and things like that, I think it's interesting, right? Again, perspective and where you're coming from. So hearing this story, and you hear that Elvis was raised in a black neighborhood, he went to the black church, he got the black culture inside of him. And I felt like if Elvis was a black person, no one would think twice, no one would say anything, right? And I think that what sometimes people forget is, like, regardless of your race, right? You know, you think about culture and you think about subculture, right? If his culture is within that community, right? That this is the church that he goes to, these are the people that he hangs out with. After a while, you assimilate, right? You become part of that culture. You don't think about your race, especially when they're not, you know, it's not that they're putting it in your face. You become part of that culture. So the music that you listen to, it becomes part of you, right? And it sounds like he's saying, Elvis is seeing people within his community dance. So he's dancing like the people of his community. It's not like he's seeing black people. He's like, I'm dancing like black people. I'm dancing like white people. No, I'm dancing like the people within my community. I'm dancing like the people who are my family, because they are my kin, because these are the people that I grew around. And I'm hearing that. And it's funny to say that, you know, they're like, you know, this kid goes on the stage, and I think about adults, right? Even me, like, I grew up in the church, and it's like, when kids go on the stage and they're dancing, like, adults are happy, you know what I mean? They're like, oh my God, you know, the kids, look at them, like, they're into what, you know, they're into the religion, they're into the spirit of whatever it is, and that they're trying, and that they're actually enjoying it. So this is what I'm getting from this. Again, it's like, this is his community. So what he has taken from his community, he has taken from his community. Again, whether he was black or white or Hispanic or Asian or whatever it is, that was his community, and that is what he grows up with. So when he's on his stage and he's dancing the way that he danced, that's what he saw when he was a kid, right? That's how they dance. So that's what he took in. So I'm not even, my goodness, I got to stop pausing to talk. Otherwise this video is going to be an hour long. But I just kind of want to say that because this is just what I'm hearing. It's just like, if you take his race out and you just see him as an individual, this is a kid who grew up seeing certain things, and so that becomes part of his culture, right? He sees the gospel music, and gospel music, soul music, blues music, jazz music, even hard rock and roll music, right? Music touches people a different way, and they express that, you know what I mean? It goes through your bones, it goes through your soul. Different music does different things for different people. Different music, people relate to certain music. Like, some people may absolutely hate, you know, rock and roll or soul or whatever, and they love country and they love hard rock, and other people may hate it also. So I'm gonna try not to pause it anymore, guys, just so that we can get to it. But yeah, that was it.
To us, you know, we say he ain't singing, but to them, he was singing. You know,
right? Got it.
That knew what singing was.
Got it.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We didn't know.
Let me tell you something that, for me as an Australian, as an outsider, sometimes you read in the early parts that go, when they first had the very first recording, "That's All Right, Mama," you know, "That's all right, Mama."
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
They said that, a lot of people said that some of the early guys would go like, "Oh, that's a black singer, not a white singer."
Okay,
would you have been able to say, no, that was, like, did it sound black sound to you or white sound, or you just didn't care, or didn't even
sound black to me?
Did it sound black?
Yeah, kind of black to me.
Yeah. And you think he picked that up just from being around you guys, like just vocally, that sort of style?
I won't say me, but
no, but I mean, you're singing gospel.
Yeah.
If you're singing gospel together,
I read it loud and pausing. So he said it sounded black to him. It's funny because I think about one of my first videos that I did with the Righteous Brothers, right? I thought that they were black because of the way they sound. And I think that part goes to like back in the day, certain people did certain type of music, right? So, you know, the music that Elvis was doing was music that mostly black people was doing, the dancing that he was doing. So they weren't thinking that a white boy would do that type of music. Whereas right now, and this is again why I love the time that I live in, even with all the chaoticness that's going on, is that right now I feel like people do music of all times, right? So even before, some people may have said country music was black people. Now you have huge black people who are doing country. I feel like people are becoming and more open-minded in terms of music is music. There's no race to music. Music is just music. So, but you know, like I said, even me and just like that, it's like when you're used to your culture doing a certain type of music, you assume that, you know what I mean? And that's just that. I feel like for me, this is what I mean when I hear that sounds a certain way. And even with the voices, right? Man, I'm not even going to share that story. I was about to share a story, but I'm not even going to share the story. But let me continue. Let's go.
said that some of the early guys would go like, "Oh, that's a black singer, not a white singer."
Okay,
Would you have been able to say no? That was like, did it sound black sound to you or white sound, or you just didn't care, or didn't even
sound black to me?
Did it sound black?
Yeah, kind of black to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you think you picked that up just from being around you guys, like just vocally, that sort of style?
I won't say me, but
No, but I mean, you're singing gospel.
Yeah.
If you're singing gospel together,
Yeah. I have to say that's where it came from. I'm really gonna have to.
I know you're not. I'm not just being nice. I know you're not boastful, right?
We had that all. That's all right, Mama.
Seems sensible. I mean,
Yeah.
when you're like 7 years old, you're singing, you're moving a certain way. It's right. How would the movement be? You got the gospel.
And then we was doing the foot and doing the pat.
Yeah. But like say when he gets up in the gospel church, you remember you said he gets up in the church and he's like moving like everybody else.
Yeah.
He's using the whole body, or what's he doing?
Yeah, he's using the whole body just like they are doing. They
much
were
more
doing that too. They were all back,
forward,
doing that too.
steps,
doing
that.
They were doing all that too.
That. Yeah, I mean it makes sense. Sense.
That's where he got it from. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
Just
sense.
couldn't believe that was him. I didn't think he was paying that much attention.
Oh, but come on, man! But he wasn't absorbed.
All right, guys, another pause. As I'm watching these documentaries, I'm hearing this thing. In a way, I feel like it's killing me. It's killing me in a bad way to see that, like, race is such a big thing. Like, they talking about the race, like, it's so big. Like, I feel like, again, if Elvis was a black guy, none of those would not even matter. Like, people wouldn't even say that. But because he's a white dude, like, they focus so much on race. Like, it's a little annoying to me, I have to say. It really is annoying to me. But I also understand the reason why people are putting it out there is because people are also putting it out there saying that Elvis is racist. And I know some of you guys had, educated me and told me, like, I was reading the comments. I don't know if I even replied back to it. But side note, I read the comments. I may not necessarily reply back to them, but I do read them. So you guys were saying that part of the whole conspiracy and the whole thing about Elvis being racist, like you guys were saying that it was his manager that, whether it's true or not, that's what some of you guys are saying, it was his manager that first put out that propaganda, that first put it out there so that, Elvis can be seen a certain way, or whatever it is, whatever his reason is, that it was him that put it out. And here it is, years later, people are still trying to clean up that mess and saying that he's not racist. And it's just, to me, sometimes it's just hard that it's like there has to be a focus about whether he's racist or not when he's just him, right? He's a kid who grew up a certain place. It doesn't matter. If you are a kid like me, if I go to China and I see them dance a certain way, and this is what I grew up seeing, and this is what I grew up hearing, that's what I'm going to be producing, because this is what I know. This is not growing up. It doesn't mean that I'm stealing their music. It's my culture, right? This is what I grew up. And I feel like that's the same thing. It's like sometimes I feel like they take away from Elvis and everything he does because they focus so much on race. So I'm watching this again. I love the fact that it's out there and it's, changing the narrative. But at the same token, I'm watching this. I'm just like, he's a kid watching it. You know what I mean? He's a kid. Like, why does race always have to be something? But anyway, that's my 2 cents. Let me continue.
Something he wanted to do.
But it makes sense. Say, like, for example, it makes sense if you guys go to the barber shop and and those dudes are playing guitar, and like it obviously had a magnetism on him. I mean, he was, as you say.
You sit there and watch him. You watch the fingers, how they do, and you show him. You show him how they do, and you sit there and he's watching me up and down. He watching, and he plays that broom the same way with his mouth. He makes the same tune with his mouth.
That's what kids do.
He was just a kid in this neighborhood. He wasn't a white kid or black kid. He was a kid. He just one of the kids in this neighborhood. We had the Cosby group, the little fat guy.
Yeah, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, we had all that. And we had the funny talking guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when he came out with that, it was such amazing. He must have been looking at us up there because we had the same little group.
You mean like
we didn't know it was a Cosby group.
You mean like Fat Albert or something?
Yeah.
Fat Albert, and almost identical.
Yeah, we had that.
So in my mind, I could be thinking a group like that.
Yeah, we didn't dress like they did, but we had the same little. Somebody that never understood, you couldn't understand him, or somebody just you can beat on, or somebody just.
Yeah.
Just everything.
There was always hungry.
Always somebody hungry, right? With walking around with a biscuit in the pocket.
Yeah.
Now, where Elvis learned to play that piano was James' house. James had a sister.
He's a piano player?
James wasn't a piano player, but his sister was.
Sister playing the piano.
So he'd go in there and they'd let him play in there. And we had a guy named Jesse.
Jesse?
Yeah, and we call Elvis EP.
EP? Really? Even when he was a kid?
Yeah, we call him EP. That's where that EP came from. We didn't ever call him Elvis.
You remember the nicknames of your friends?
Yeah, some of them we had a Humpty.
Humpty?
Yeah. Of course.
EP?
EP, so we had Dune. And we had a Boots. Boots was the fat guy.
There's always a Boots.
Yeah. And Jesse was the skinny guy. He was tall, fast talking Jesse.
Fast talking skinny Jesse.
He didn't weigh 30 pounds soaking wet. Everybody up there had nicknames. And all of us was called each other fool. Fool, F-O-O-L.
A fool.
Like you're a fool.
Yeah. There's always a word some generation.
Yeah. They said, what's wrong with that fool?
Yeah.
You know, go get that fool.
Okay,
Come on, fool.
Come on, fool.
Yeah.
Would you call EP fool?
Yeah.
EP would call you guys fool?
Yeah.
Who was the leader of the little gang, do you think?
I don't like to brag. I guess I was. Especially right up in here. We all live in, it wasn't that much of
that same area?
Yeah, all of us in the same area. All the guys, we live right in the house from each other. Just
you're close.
Yeah.
Is EP like part of the gang? Like
yeah.
I mean, segregation. For me, it's hard to understand segregation.
He was just one of the boys. Once he came in the neighborhood, he was one of the boys, in the neighborhood.
This thing is amazing to me. You mean EP? Some of the guys in the gang were lighter skinned than EP. No. There wasn't a whole lot of like, well, you're a white kid.
No, it wasn't that in the neighborhood. No, only time you get there is different when school time.
Yeah.
When he had to go to one school, we had to go to another. As soon as school's out,
nothing.
Right there together.
Would he stay at your place at any time, or?
Yeah, if he wanted to.
Stay over?
Yeah, my grandparents, they just loved him.
Yeah.
He had better, he could go through the house better than we could. He could go in there and get what he wanted, open the refrigerator and get what he wanted.
So your grandma really liked him?
Yeah, she really loved him.
Well, what did she like? Why was he like him?
Because he was so mannerable. We was little mannish little guys, but he was mannish too. But
what do you mean by that?
By yes ma'am and no sir. And see, during that time, if a black person didn't expect a white person to say yes ma'am,
to be polite, to be
yes
decent.
Ma'am, thank you, yes sir.
Yeah.
But he always did that, and she just loved it. And my papa did too. He just couldn't believe it. You don't have to, but we would say yes sir to. But we had to go. We lived there.
I get you.
Yeah, but he didn't have to.
And do you think that was because? Do you think he even thought about it? Or the way he was brought up?
Yeah, just the way he was. They kind of looked down on him a little bit.
Why? Because poor? Super poor?
Yeah, he was poor. And they didn't expect that from him, but he never lost his dignity because he was a little boy. Any kid in the neighborhood started a rook or started up something, you had to stay over there on your side. But because it was no different. When we all played, they could sit there and relax, and we just have fun and play.
Yeah. Was he quiet or a chatterbox? Was he a talker or was he shy?
He was quiet around the elder people, but he was a chatterbox with us. I mean, when he humped it, we had one of the guys was younger than all of us. It was Thomas's brother, and his name was Humpty, and he was the most naive one.
Humpty was the sort of
that's-
simple, more
Yeah,
sweet.
he was the youngest one in the group,
young Humpty.
and those two, they could never get along.
EP and young Humpty.
Yeah, but they couldn't do without each other either, because once they come out and they say, "Where Humpty?" if you don't see him, and Humpty would come out and he'd say, "Where EP at?" But when they got together, they always disagreed with each other.
A fight.
When EP would converse about something, and he sounded like he kind of boastful, you know. For example, if you say, "I'm gonna get my daddy gonna bring me a 25," he'll say, "Well, I'm gonna get a 38." It's always something a little bit better.
A 25 is gone?
Yeah, it's 22. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 22.
22. Well, then he'd say, "Well, my daddy, I'm getting a 38."
Yeah.
And then we said, "Well, we're gonna get some BB guns." So they all bought us BB guns, and then we was using that single shot BB gun.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, I'm gonna get an automatic." It's always a little bit
Something
more.
better.
Yeah, something better all the
That's
time.
kids being kids.
And it happened. I remember when we got our bikes. We got bikes. Everybody got bikes with little baskets on them, so we could deliver stuff for our folks and all. They go to the store.
I'm here.
Had the little basket, and then when they came up with the bikes, he said, "Well, we're gonna get bikes. Everybody gonna have a bike." And he said, "Well, I'm gonna get a motorbike." And sure enough, his daddy brought him a little old motorbike,
How'd you do that?
little old bicycle, little wheels about that wide wheels, about that tall, about that with a chain on it and a motor on it.
I know they're like a moped.
Yeah, I don't know where he got it from, but he got it.
Got it.
Yeah, he got it.
My God.
She was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
she
your
was nice.
husband?
She was very protective of him though. She wanted to know wherever we went, when we come back,
Mama.
how long we gonna be gone. You know, she was very protective of him, and I can understand that too. Because I was too. We just didn't get questioned that much.
Yeah.
We'd been in the neighborhood since birth, so it wasn't. But when he moved in, she wanted to know. Yeah, she was very protective of him because when he come out and jumped that fence, she looked, she see where he's going, and she's all right.
And
She was real nice. She used to make some of the best Kool-Aid and some sandwiches, boy.
Really?
She put them up in that little tree and leave us, and then we spotted them. She could ease out there and put that Kool-Aid up
you
there.
always love them, the sandwiches and stuff. That was
Yeah,
the thing,
the
right?
peanut butter sandwich and the banana sandwiches. I bet you I saw him maybe 3 times of all the time. He came home, he brought him that bike. He came home and he bought him that BB gun. And he came home, I mean, it's the only time I've seen him. He might have come home.
Yeah.
But I only saw him 3 times, about 3 times.
Yeah, anything about him? Imagine if you were getting in an accident plane. Was he quiet? Did he get angry? Did he not? Was he?
Not while he was there. He didn't seem to be that long, you know.
Yeah.
He'd come up, but he would treat us nice.
Yeah.
He did. Y'all go at it. And he tell them when he bought that motorbike, he told him, "Now you gotta let them ride it now."
Would you say you all dressed basically the same? Same. What would the costumes be?
Hey, look, we thought we was cool. We got the we call them overhauls,
The overalls, yeah.
with the strap come over the shoulder. And while we down there playing, we'd have straps on our shoulder. And sometimes when it got too hot, we just have a shirt, just
Yeah.
a little loose outside shirt hanging out.
Yeah.
But that was our tie,
Yeah,
the little
but-
boys at the time.
Yeah.
We thought we was cool. And when the girls come around, we'd take the strap and when we ride our bikes and show out, ride in front of the girl and do the wheels and
Yeah,
jump up and down, we'd throw the strap over our shoulder.
I mean, one strap off.
Yeah, one strap. It was cool.
Yeah, like, whoa,
Yeah.
look at my muscles sort of thing.
Yeah, so,
She would be quilting,
yeah.
and he would just lay down on her legs and watch the quilting.
He sit down on the floor, and put his hand on the leg, just like he was her mama, like she was his mama.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, he'd sit there, boy. And he'd just be studying, we tell him we'd just be studying that.
So kind of again, so I'm listening to this, right? And all I'm thinking about is just growing up, right? When you grow up and you live in a neighborhood and your friends, you make friends, and it's like you guys are community. Their mom becomes like your aunties, right? And then your mom becomes your auntie, and it's just a whole like family living together. And this is what I'm hearing right now. I'm hearing Elvis lived in this area, and his friends were his family. They were his community. Like Sam's parents, the grandparents, was like, it's so funny because it really is. I feel like, and you guys can comment below and let me know. I feel like grandparents and older folks, the kids that they like, it's not about race or anything. It's about respect. If they feel that a kid has respect, they're gonna love you all day. But if they feel like the kid is disrespectful, they don't want to have nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's just human nature, and that's just how it is. It seems that Elvis was respectful, right? When he came around adults, he was respectful, and just like all of these boys, like they said, they were respectful, and that's that, and that's that. And when they were with their boys and their friends, kids are gonna be kids, and they were being kids, and you have the different dynamics, but that is that relationship, that is that core. So I'm hearing this, and I'm just seeing regular childhood. I'm seeing my childhood. You know what I mean? So I'm not seeing race, which is what some people are watching, and this is what we're hearing. I'm just hearing Elvis was with his friends, and that was just that. Period. That's that. All right, let me continue.
Development that we call him. You ain't up to no good. You studying development.
You think he's absorbing all the time, right?
Yeah.
Learning. He was a learner, right?
Yeah, he was a learner. You can see that. A
Yeah,
lot of times we be playing ball down there. Well, I came by the fairground. They had a stand down there with a fan stand, and he'd be sitting up in that stand sometimes, just staring across there while we playing. He'd just stand across the park. He'd be thinking about something all the time.
All the time.
That is.
But you're telling me that actually being poor might even be worse than being black.
You're poor and black. You're really bad. We were knowing that up on the hill there, everybody's supposed to have been real good shape, good money, but we had poor people up here too.
Yeah.
But the more homeowners and business owners was up here on this hill.
Yeah.
And over there, now this is his saying, he wasn't the only one. They had a certain little poor group over there that they looked down on.
In Shakerag?
No, over there in East Tupelo.
East Tupelo.
Yeah, and here's the thing about it. The rest of part of Tupelo looked down on East Tupelo. That was they looked down on Shakerag and they looked down on EP and them, where they live.
And this is the way I say, right, in terms of humankind and just how we are. It's like when racism is out of the way, here comes classism, right? Right? It's always something. It's always something. If you're not judging someone because of their race, then you're judging them because of their economic status, or you're judging them because of gender. Like, people always find something to judge about, and I feel like the people are judging, like, you just hate yourself. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way that there's not enough love in the world to spread out. It's okay for everybody to be different, but there's some people that just can't see that. They just have to judge, they have to feel something so that they can feel superior. And so it's interesting that he says, right, that being poor, right, here you are, we're the same color, but you don't have the same economic status. And being poor, it's its own stuff. But again, if you're black and poor, double, what is it? I'm just saying double jeopardy. I know that's not the proper way, but it's just like double banging for you right there. It's crazy. It's crazy how people have to be like that.
For the Tupelo's concern, they was poor people. And it was kind of sad when he left. We thought he was another one of his fantasies when one day he told us, when he came home one day and said he's gonna have to move. And I remember my grandma, she was kind of sad. She said she didn't really think he had to leave, right. But he was telling the truth. Because he always saying something like that, I'm going to Texas or something. I'm going to somewhere. But this time...
You mean he said, like, I'm going to America, I'm going to South America, and, like,
yeah, I'm going
told
somewhere.
stories?
I'm going somewhere, yeah, like I'm going so-and-so. Yeah, you going, right, yeah. But this time he said, I'm really going to have to leave. We finna move. And it didn't sink in till later. We just thought, well, I had another one of those fantasies.
Yeah.
But...
Because he had these little fantasies about travel?
So I'm loading. Yeah, but it's just going, no place particularly, just going somewhere.
Yeah.
And
it's funny that they're using the word fantasies, right? Because I feel like these are dreams and goals, right? These are the thing that makes a great person a great person, is because you're always dreaming and you always have hopes and dreams and goals and to do better for yourself, right? So even when he says that they're out there playing in the stand and Elvis is there watching them far away, just thinking about the dreams and the hopes that he has, and he did make it, right? Like, I'm saying that to say that, guys, no matter what your situation is, have dreams, have goals, have hope, hold on to it, and do, little steps by steps to achieve those. Because I feel like for me, once your dreams and your goals die, then you die. You know what I mean? Even though you're physically still alive, but if you don't have no aspiration, you don't have no hope, you don't have no dreams, you don't have no goals, you don't have any of those things, that's a part of you is already dead. You know what I mean? You're just going along with emotions. So it's so important to have those, even though you'll have people out there that's trying to shut those down, that's trying to say that'll never happen. Don't let them. Continue to have those things and follow them the most that you can. You know what I mean? And that's just that. That's it.
Something about Memphis too. He had Memphis on his mind. I don't know. I guess that's why he ended up there. But I used the word because they said I still remember boastful.
Yeah.
It's not that he was boastful. He just saw bigger things.
So big.
He didn't know how he's gonna get there. He just saw bigger things.
So
we didn't understand it, but he did.
Yeah. What he's saying is big imagination.
You're right. He saw bigger things.
And he spoke of the imagination.
Right. We thought it was all fantasy. This guy, he's out there. He a little old black guy sitting up on the hill up here, and some white guy coming and tell you, man, I can't imagine me going to Memphis. I'm gonna get to Memphis. Memphis there to us, it was like 1,000 miles away.
You mean that because he was like free, and as you're saying, he saw big things, right? Kind of imagined, and you guys went with it because you understood he was just a little kid and he had good fancy and he was good natured and good hearted.
Yeah.
Were you and your grandparents worried for him that he'd be treated differently in Memphis? Because you were worried for him. Is that what you think?
Wherever he went, we thought that, they thought that, and we thought that the rest of us thought that he'd be mistreated. He wouldn't understand him. He knew it would be different, but he didn't know how. He knew he gonna have to change. Come from down on that hill right down there with the overall strap on your back and your shoe turned up.
Yeah.
A lot of difference going up there to Memphis school up there.
Yeah.
He knew that was gonna be a change, but and we didn't think he was going to Memphis. We just thought he just moving across town.
Yeah. Bullshit.
Yeah. I saw them packing that evening from here.
Yeah.
It was on the backside out there, and some things were taken out the back.
Yeah.
And then we come on through the yard around here where they were loading up out here. And they loaded up and
So did you see EP? I guess what I'm getting at is
I didn't get sick by buddy and all that stuff. They was pulling out. We saw him loading up, and I didn't see him.
Yeah.
He may have not been with them. I can't say.
Yeah.
But I saw her mother.
Trucker.
Yeah, I saw the trucker.
Right.
Somebody was loading him up, but he wasn't standing out here waving at us.
Right.
So I thought he might have been someplace else. I don't know.
I get you.
That's why I thought they might have been moving somewhere else in town instead of going to Memphis.
I get you.
I think they went to Memphis after that. I don't think they left here at the same time.
I get you.
Because I saw him one time. I just saw him just waving at him. I
Right.
didn't talk to him.
Right.
And he was down down near town, downtown down there. And I passed by and I saw him with a bike. Looked like he was standing next to a bike on the corner there.
After they left.
Yeah, but I didn't get to talk to him anymore.
Wow, because they went back to reality, right? They had to leave the area, and it just that all of a sudden there goes segregation again, right? Very interesting. Thank you so much, V, for sharing this with me. I truly appreciate it, and thank you guys for staying till the end, because I know this is a very long video. It's almost 40 minutes, but thank you guys. And as always, I always love hearing about the artists that I love. I always love hearing their stories, and I love hearing behind the scenes. So that was one of those. But I just said, like I said from the beginning, I think it's just sad that race has to be such a big part of Elvis. So for me, as I see this, I see it as here's Elvis's childhood friend talking about Elvis and just talking about him being one of the guys and just being why Elvis is the way he is, right? Because this is his background, this is his culture, this was his community. So as always, thank you for sharing it, and thank you guys for who are listening, and ignore the negative comments that people are putting out there. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your energy replying to them. Just ignore them, okay? So with that said, I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next reaction.